What can tech learn from sushi? And I want to give you a little background about this young man standing beside me. And I pulled some things that I'm just going to read to you first. And these are all pretty much quotes. These are not my words. This comes from Bun, actually. He said, I often miss my grandmother in Japan, but I'm also grateful for the worldly journey that my parents have allowed my life to become in America. This cuisine is indebted to my mother, who is Japanese, and to my father, who is Chinese. It is because of these differences that I adore and appreciate cultural diversity. In his menu, one of the things that always cracked me up this is one of my very favorite restaurants in the whole world, by the way, that I go to. It's in New Haven. He'll tell you more about it. Is one on the menu literally is how to properly French kiss. And this is what it says. The only way to truly French kiss is to kiss a French person. Quote, French lips are softer and warmer than the lips of people from any other nationality. And that is quoted from Nature magazine, April 2007, page 316. Hard to believe. That's the reason nobody ever American kisses or Chinese kisses. The only people who don't French kiss are the Eskimos, and they have their own way because of low temperatures, blah, 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 et cetera. You probably know that. Everyone else aspires to French kissing, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. Everybody French kisses. My newest dish, the softest French kisses, which can be found on page 8 of the menu, has captured much of the essential pleasures of French kissing. It is warm and it makes you want to gently draw it into your mouth with your tongue. For those of you who have never French kissed, the softest French kisses will be almost as good as an introduction to French kissing as the real thing. When's the last time you saw a menu like that, I bet, right? Here are some direct quotes from some of his customers, and I just picked a few of them out. There are hundreds and hundreds of these. Quote, this place is to sushi what jazz was to music. The first time they heard it, they were, what is this? People were offended by jazz. You had these guys doing amazing music that lots of people didn't understand. It feels like jazz at Mia's. Another quote, this is not fusion, but greater than that. It is internationalist. This is the kind of food that you'd expect on the Starship Enterprise that would be created in the replicator. I'm not even sure I know what they're talking about there, but a little bit of Scotty, a little bit of Kirk, a little bit of O'Hara, a little bit of Chekhov, and a little bit of Sulu to represent Earth food to the rest of the universe. This one is more down our line, probably. It says, Bun, somebody actually took the time to write this. I wanted to take a moment to send you a message about our experience at your lovely restaurant. My mother, her boyfriend, and I came in for dinner late on Saturday night after they picked me up from a dreadfully late night flight from Chicago. Well, despite the late hour and my overly hungry stomach, it was a lovely and memorable experience. Perhaps even one of the highlights of my last trip to the Elm City. Yes, the food was very tasty and thoughtfully prepared, but the pleasant experience was more holistic. Your menu items were unusual, very creative, and above all, very fresh. In addition, the service was heartfelt. We left feeling like our spirits had been cared for and our bellies loved. We especially enjoyed talking to you and getting your personal recommendations. And that was from Dr. Jennifer Jordan. She wrote Harnessing Power to Capture Leadership. And she's a professor at the Kellogg School of Management, as well as being sitting on the board at the Ford Center for Global Citizenship. Here's one. We all know Jay Lender, right?
We do, yeah.
Jay Lender, who's a writer, director of SpongeBob SquarePants, right?
And your wife taught him as well.
Yeah, my wife's amazing in this regard.
T-shirt.
Hey, you run an amazing Bun. Hey, you run an amazing place. You know I'm a 100% straight shooter, so you can count on it when I tell you that the very worst thing I can say about tonight is that I wouldn't have served the catfish last, and I had to beat my brains to come up with even that. Every single dish was fantastic. I'd be at a loss to tell anyone what to order. My advice to friends, and I will direct as many of them as I can your way, will simply be to put themselves in the hands of the great chef. It was wonderful to see you in person, and even better to see you working in a business where you can put your supernatural, sorry I can't say this, BS powers to work for you. I was told I was not allowed to swear on a tape. When I get back to LA, I'll break out the pencil and paper and make you something suitable for framing. Last but not least is, I just want you to know that Bun Lai, that's this gentleman right here, was a 2010 He's a 2010 nominee for Best Connecticut Chef, 26-time winner for the Best Overall Restaurant, Best Sushi, and Best Chinese Restaurant. This is New England poll. If there is more creative or passionate restaurateur, we have never met him. Connecticut Magazine. The courage to present such radical dishes is rare and admirable, but the ability to make them all appetizing is extraordinary. That's the Yale Daily News. One of my favorites. For sheer gutsy inventiveness, nothing I've eaten this year beats New Haven's Mia. When the young chef is at the stove, it's sublime, and it's a joy to be in the presence of such an original mind. That's the chief restaurant critic from the New York Times. The favorite one I have here was from, it doesn't matter who it's from, it went, I went to Mia's twice last week, and I'd like to add a few words of my own. Oh my God. And that's how I feel. So please welcome my friend here.
Well, thank you
online.
so much,
Okay,
Rob.
right?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you all for coming. I'm going to talk about my food because everything that I do, I think my food is a metaphor for, or else it's tangentially connected to. This is a beautiful picture done by Abby Denson, the cartoonist, and I'm really flattered that she did this of a sushi dessert of mine. It's made out of it's a fried sushi roll that uses mochi instead of rice, and then inside it's got the chocolate, strawberry, peanut butter, anything and everything pretty much that kids like the most. And then it's topped with rose petal ice cream that is hand churned at Mia's. Because of these types of recipes that I do, people often think that I do fusion. But what I do, I don't think is fusion at all. I don't really consider it fusion. What I do with my sushi is I use sushi as a medium to express and explore different ideas about things that I'm interested in. A couple of the things that interest me more than almost anything are people and nature. And I get that from my parents. I'm an immigrant, my parents are immigrants, and they're both foreigners, but also foreigners to each other. My father's from Hong Kong, and my mother's from Japan, and my father studied in England at the same time, too. My mother's favorite author growing up was Dostoevsky. My father loves Russian music to this day. And because of them and because of the fact that I'm an immigrant in America and being tricultural, American, Japanese, and Chinese, I think I spent a lot of my time especially looking into the lives of other people, often wondering what it is to be an American, because my parents were Asian and they seemed so different from everybody around me. At the same time, I think as I got older, the question became what it is to be human. So that's what I try to explore in my cuisine.